This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.
It's Wednesday, May the 6th, 2015, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with news that health authorities are to launch a thorough investigation into reports of mistreatment of patients at the Psychiatric Hospital. Minister of Health John Boyce also told the House of Assembly last night a similar probe will be conducted into an apparent shortage of some pharmaceutical drugs at the mental institution. Minister Boyce was responding to opposition MP for St. Thomas, Cynthia Ford, as he wrapped up debate on amendment to the Health Services Act, which was eventually passed. Photographs were presented to the House claiming to represent the mistreatment.
I want to assure the opposition that I will investigate the validity of the documents which have been introduced and see whatever is present in this documentation that has to be corrected, will be corrected, but certainly in terms of the photograph of the meal, what appears to be rice and peas, coleslaw, and some kind of offering of meat. I would have to, of course, discuss with the members of the Psychiatric Hospital management team.
With respect to the apparent low stock levels of drugs, the health minister said while there was no need to panic, he would get to the bottom of it.
I have investigated the matter. Subsequent to this date, the Psychiatric Hospital has received on one occasion some $166,000 worth of pharmaceuticals. The Psychiatric Hospital, on average, uses about $102,000 worth of pharmaceuticals monthly. That would seem to indicate to me that the situation has been returned to even above what exists in this memo.
Chief Justice Marston Gibson has been given more time to respond to a protocol letter from a senior lawyer who intends to sue him. Queen's Counsel Vernon Smith said he had extended his demand for immediate written response to another 7 days before starting legal proceedings. Smith's letter was sent to the Chief Justice on Friday, April the 24th, asking him to outline reasons why he effectively barred him from representing a client in a case over which he was presiding. The Queen's Counsel has accused the head of the judiciary of refusing to allow him a hearing without due process, thereby breaching his constitutional rights. Smith is accusing the CJ of basing his decision merely on the word of former president of the Barbados Bar Association, Barry Gale QC, that he, Smith, had not paid his bar fees.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
A smile
Turning now to news from the region, former Trinidad and Tobago Attorney General Anand Ramlogan has testified in court about his real estate investments, saying he bought 4 separate properties, all funded from his private practice, and all were acquired before he accepted the role as a government minister in May 2010. Ramlogan was given evidence in support of a defamation lawsuit he brought against his one-time cabinet colleague, the controversial Jack Warner, who claimed at a public meeting that the ex-Attorney General acquired 51 properties during his tenure. In his lengthy testimony, which spanned more than 5 hours, Ramlogan repeatedly stated that Warner's claims were not true. Throughout the hearing, Ramlogan refrained from making eye contact with Warner, who was seated at the opposite end of the courtroom. Internationally now, party leaders and candidates are making a last-ditch grab for votes on the final day of campaigning before the general election polls open in Britain tomorrow. Prime Minister David Cameron is promising to keep Britain on the road to a brighter future as he makes his final push for a return to number 10 Downing Street.
The final stretch. It is testimony to a knife-edge campaign that photo opportunities in the pouring rain are still worth a detour.
36 hours to go.
David Cameron's last push began in Twickenham. His campaign is looser now,
Come on, SNP!
open to the occasional heckler. Then on to Hendon, another marginal, with Boris Johnson as his warm-up act. His closing argument, don't gamble with the economic recovery. He warns of chaos, of Labour making backroom deals with the SNP, of the risk of voting Liberal Democrat.
If you vote Liberal Democrat, you don't know what you're going to get. Nick Clegg was very clear at the weekend. He's just as likely to support an Ed Miliband SNP government that would bring the country, in my view, to a juddering halt than he is to support the Conservatives. So if you prefer me as your Prime Minister, vote Conservative. Don't leave it to chance.
Meanwhile, Lib Dems leader Nick Clegg is offering stability and decency.
His last visit to his constituency before the polls open. Nick Clegg ended a 16-hour day of campaigning with a plea: vote Liberal Democrat or face the prospect of another election before Christmas.
If you want to avoid the shambles of an unstable minority government, if you want to avoid the shambles of a second general election before Christmas, you've got to vote Liberal Democrat. Thank you very much.
For Labour's Ed Miliband, a government that will put working people first is his pledge.
He could be just hours from climbing to the highest office in the land. On the way, he's been ridiculed and written off. But today, Ed Miliband told me he was convinced he was heading for Downing Street.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to change this country for working people, and I see it as my duty to change this country for working people, because I believe that if David Cameron were to get back into power, he'd wreck this country for working people, and I'm not going to let his wrecking crew get back and wreck the chances of working families in our country.
But why was his confidence not matched by voters who still question his ability to run the economy?
I think there is a big choice, which I think is a big choice at this election. Do you believe that the way a country succeeds is with the wealth trickling down from a few at the top, or do you believe a country succeeds by putting working people first? And that is the big election choice.
Polls suggest no party will win enough seats for an outright majority. And on that note, we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. Subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Lime TV and Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.
This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.